Space exploration. 1. The space race, meaning competition between the U.S. and the Soviet Union in the 1950s and 60s to be the first to explore space. Example, the space race in the 1950s marks an important point in the development of space exploration. 2. A space probe, meaning a type of spacecraft that does not have a person inside. Example, space probes can be sent to far distances for long periods of time to gather information about different areas in space. 3. A lunar module, meaning a small craft used for traveling between the moon and the larger spacecraft orbiting the moon. Example, when the first men walked on the moon, they came out of the lunar module. The first man to walk on the moon said, "One small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." 4. To put into orbit, meaning to send something into space, following a curved path of a planet or an object as it moves around a star, a moon, or a planet. Example, a new satellite has been put into orbit around the Earth. 5. Manned spaceflight, meaning a voyage into space which has a person to control it. Example, manned space flights are so dangerous, many checks must be carried out first. 6. To launch a space rocket, meaning to send a rocket into space. Example, nowadays, men launch space rockets, not ships, to discover new worlds. 7. The cosmos, meaning the universe, especially when it is thought of as an ordered system. Example, although the challenge of exploring and understanding the cosmos is exciting, it is also very expensive. 8. To pour money into space research, meaning to spend enormous amounts of money on space research. Example, some people argue that it is wasteful to pour money into space research. 9. A test flight, meaning a flight during which a spacecraft or part of its equipment is tested. Example, test flights add to the huge costs of space exploration. 10. A space shuttle, meaning a spacecraft designed to be used, for example, to travel between the Earth and a space station. Example, the first space shuttle was front-page news, but now people are no longer excited by the concept. 11. A space station, meaning a large structure that is set into space and remains above the Earth as a base for people working and traveling in space. Example, even maintaining an international space station is so expensive that the cost must be shared by several countries. 12. Space voyages, meaning journeys into space. Example, public interest in the early space voyages was unprecedented. 13. Space tourism, meaning traveling to space as a form of vacation or holiday. Example, billionaires are the only people who are likely to experience space tourism in the foreseeable future. 14. To discover the mysteries of the universe, meaning to find out more about space. Example, space exploration is an essential element in our attempt to discover the mysteries of the universe. 15. Space missions, meaning flights into space. Example, recent space missions have begun to explore Mars and more distant parts of the universe. 16. The conquest of space, meaning the act of gaining control over the difficult task of exploring space. Example, the conquest of space is a challenge that continues to inspire the public imagination. 17. To be an inspiration to, meaning to make somebody excited about something, especially thinking of the future. Example, the images of the first men on the moon were an inspiration to people and made them more hopeful about the future. 18. Spacesuits and helmets, meaning the clothing worn by astronauts. Example, astronauts must find it difficult to carry out maintenance tasks during space flights wearing uncomfortable spacesuits and helmets. 19. Vacuum-packed food, meaning a space that is completely empty of all substances, including all air or other gas. Example, during manned space flights, astronauts have to live off vacuum-packed food. 20. Weightless conditions, meaning having no weight or appearing to have no weight. As a result, astronauts appear to float in space. Example, astronauts work in weightless conditions, which must make even routine tasks very difficult. 21. To endure hardships and discomforts, meaning to experience and deal with conditions that are unpleasant. Example, I doubt that space tourism will have mass appeal in the future. Travelers would have to endure hardships and discomforts such as weightless conditions, vacuum-packed food, and wearing spacesuits and helmets. 22. To float through space, meaning to move slowly in the air. Example, space tourism would be really boring simply floating through space and looking out of the window of the spacecraft. 23. Zero gravity, meaning having no force to pull objects to the ground so that they float. Example, living in conditions of zero gravity in space must be extremely tiring and uncomfortable. 24. Satellite technology, meaning the technology of sending electronic devices into space for communications purposes. Example, satellite technology has resulted in huge advances in communications and information gathering. 25. A spin-off, meaning a useful result of an activity that was designed to produce something different. Explanation. Space programs have produced spin-offs that have revolutionized modern life, such as satellite television and communications. 26. To make space travel commercially viable, meaning to make space travel a success financially. Example, holidays in space are just fantasy. It is doubtful if it will ever be possible to make space travel commercially viable. 27. The quest for a new homeland, meaning the search for a new place to inhabit. Example, as humans are destroying their own planet, the quest for a new homeland in the universe is essential. 28. Alien life forms, meaning creatures from another world. Example, one of the most exciting possibilities of the space program is finding alien life forms on other planets. 29. Extraterrestrial life, meaning life that may exist on another planet. Example, the quest for extraterrestrial life will prove that humans are not alone in the universe. 30. In the realm of science fiction, meaning only possible in science fiction stories, only fantasy. Example, most of the arguments in favor of space programs are in the realm of science fiction.